Dimp Digital presents Idle Game Chat.
Cool.
So Logan, I'm sitting there of a Wednesday evening, just minding my own business, scrolling through Twitters, seeing that the Dimp group's popping off, and I see that there's a delay news in start. Your favourite, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, delay news, the official way to start this edition of the Idle Game Chat podcast. When we saw this one coming, didn't we?
Well, I don't know. I don't really... I mean, it probably should have been delayed, judging by what I've seen of it. I mean, it needs a fucking complete rework, but they've obviously thought, can't chuck it out like that. How long was the delay?
Well, so we were going to get it in May 26th, 2023, so, just a little over a month away as we record this. It's now been moved to the 2nd of February, 2024.
That is a fucking bullet dodged for me.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you consider, even if it looked good, I'd have had to transfer it. So
yeah,
I feel like I've made an acceptable exchange there. But that's a significant delay, that. That's not just a few bits of polishing. That's some serious work they want to do to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the tweet. People don't even use the actual text now on Twitter. They just chuck a picture with a text, like a longer text in it. So Elon's getting costed there. But it says, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will now launch 02/02/24. So they didn't get themselves snarled up in this Americanized calendar display. You know how it's month, day, year, the way they do it. Because they've done it on the same day, they've got away with it. They haven't got to justify that to people. Because that annoys me inherently when it says 06/04 and it means it's the 4th of June. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute. It's not how we do dates, is it?
Honestly, I'm literally looking at my computer screen now and it says 4/14/23, and it don't matter if I change it because the next time I boot this computer up, it'll just revert back. So I'm sick of it. But it's a problem because you can invariably get caught out. It's one of the worst things that those Yanks have introduced, unfortunately, in my opinion, is fucking backward dates.
I do somewhat get it in that you say you will sometimes say, like March the 14th. So you'll say the month first, but when you're writing it down in number form, let's cut that out.
When you're formalising it, like in an agreed date format,
contractually,
like you don't fuck about with it because it needs to be consistent. And I think it's probably only the Americans that do that.
We'll say that, and we'll just accept any
commit
sort of
to it and go,
for that.
It's them as usual. Like tomatoes, No, potatoes don't work. Ignore that one.
Potato, no, I don't think it does. Tomatoes do. So we now launch 02/02/24. We've made the tough but necessary decision to take the time needed to work on getting the game to be the best quality for players. Thank you to our amazing community for the continued support. Now, I don't know who this community is because as soon as this thing launched in the state of play with the trailer and whatnot and the breakdown, you almost universally crapped on. Was what I saw, and I'm pretty sure you saw the same. So I don't know what they're saying there. I don't know if they're trying to gaslight people. Patience and understanding. Oh, sorry, I missed the sentence. For the continued support, patience and understanding. There is so much more to share in the months ahead, and we look forward to seeing you in Metropolis next year. It's not really said exactly why. I don't think often they can be believed, even if they do give a reason, as these companies. But you've already transferred that out, so you kind of avoided the snarl up there. Do you think this is a reaction to the reaction of this said community and the wider sort of gaming community? Because I don't know how much you follow outside of the Dimp realm, but generally the opinion I saw was not positive almost anywhere. Not even one place. So I do wonder if it's a response to that. But then again, unless you're going to overhaul the game completely, then a delay is not really going to help it, because the problem that people seem to have was the idea of it and the execution of it looking like it was something they didn't want. But do you feel like they may well have just we'll just get out of the firing line here, and we're out of the Zelda window and all that sort of stuff as well? They haven't got to worry about that treading on their toes.
I mean, it gives them some breathing space. I mean, you like to give them the benefit of the doubt. You think surely they're play testing this game, and if they went, like, if this was your game that you were working on, you go, this is fucking crap. Like, you'd be saying to Phil or Dave or Alan, whoever you needed to, look, this is not what people are going to want or enjoy. Like, so I like to think surely there must be something about it, but I just don't think it was what anyone was. I mean, my expectations was it'd be more like a Batman game, or like it would be more that sort of thing. Whereas it just looks like this
shooter.
Yeah, it was just a weird
Fortnite-esque shooter. It looked like third person. Everyone's got a gun and you've roaring around, mixed in with like Crackdown. I think you'd mentioned where you're jumping around doing all sorts. But
I was just like, what is this? And you sort of think, oh, maybe that's just one level or one showcase. You'd expect that the game's probably largely like that, and it just didn't really seem to have any real substance about it. And you do worry. You think, well, surely that almost, as you say, needs to go back to the drawing boards. Like, but they ain't going to do that in 10 months.
No, it's not.
Less than that, 8 months.
It's the thing, like, if the playtest is sitting there, it probably plays well. Like, if you just took away all the what it is, the core game, maybe that plays well, but it's the idea of it, like we've both said there. It seems that it's something that no one wanted. They're kind of being punished in some ways for the success of the Arkham games, Rocksteady, because the expectation and the want and the desire is for another entry to that type, maybe with a new superhero or something like that.
But surely they would have known that.
Yes, but then again, WB, who published it, probably saw, oh, look, this looter shooting stuff's getting, popular, co-op. Like, all these decisions were made many, many years ago. So you have to kind of walk back at what the trends were at the time. Yeah. And they probably thought we'd get away with this. But as time's dragged on and on and on, it's just come to this stage where no one seems to want it. I do have a level of sympathy for Rocksteady, because should they be crapped on for making a game that's different to what they did before? Like, we're imposing those expectations on them artificially before even getting hands on the controller. And it seems like it seems slightly unfair, but by the same point, from what I've seen, I wouldn't have much interest in playing it. So I can only be as honest as I'll allow myself to be in public, which is not very.
There's a very, I mean, when you look at all of the kind of superhero genre games, they're very, because it's such a, people invest very heavily in the whole superhero Marvel DC universe. Yeah. And you get a set of expectations from how you want to interact with that universe and portray it and see it. And I think you want something like the films look, or like with a bit more substance. And I think that's the problem, is that the game, to me at least, deviated away a little bit from even the Suicide Squad movie to become something where you're not like playing through a story necessarily by the looks of it, and you're sort of just doing this chaotic jumping around. Like, everyone's got an element of mobility, and it just all just seemed a bit like they'd taken a game and reskinned it almost to Suicide Squad and gone, there you go. Like, it didn't seem like it was trying to be true to a superhero style game. I guess that's how I saw it, or at least from my expectations are set by the films that you watch. So
one of the rumours was actually, you talk about repurposing an old game, one of the rumours was that they were originally working on a Superman game, which is why it's set in Metropolis. Right. And then at some point that got canned, and maybe they built the world already and thought, well, let's not scrap all this. I mean, this is pure speculation. You know, mostly complete drivel, no doubt. But without ever being told or knowing, we only left it to speculate. But that may well be part of the issue as well. That it was, you know, it wasn't originally going to be this game, and then they couldn't get Superman to work because Superman's inherently a pain in the arse to make feel good to fly around in. This, I think this. I don't know if you ever played Superman 64, but widely considered one of the worst games ever created.
I think I've seen some gameplay a little while ago of it, and it's
worth tapping into YouTube and just seeing someone just play it and lay into it. But
they just didn't used to give a fuck back then, did they? They were like, chuck it out. There ain't social media. There ain't really.
4 FPS, chuck it out, doesn't work. Yeah. They'll buy it because it's got Superman on the box. I suppose the access to the game was quite limited in that, how would you find out about a review? Maybe the internet was just bubbling up back then, but not many people would have had it, and magazines were sometimes late to the party. You just go by the box. That's what it used to be, didn't you? You'd look at the box or the case or the CD case on PlayStation side and go, well, that looks good.
Yeah.
You get it home.
It's a leap of faith.
It was a leap of faith, yeah. Simpler times, some would say. But...
cheaper though. It's all relative, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, anyway, delay news officially wrapped up, and it's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Let's break out and introduce us and the show. This is Idle Game Chat, Dimp Digital's flagship video game podcast. We're usually here every week. I think we've missed a week that we haven't planned to miss for over a year now. So it's worth keeping in mind. We have bank holidays off though, so the UK have a handful of these throughout the year, and they are always taken off. So we're actually just back from bank holiday break. Easter, done, in the books. My personal favourite set of holidays, just because it always falls on a Friday, it always falls on a Monday. And the annoying thing about Christmas is you kind of expected to see people. You can't get away and rock, can you? Whereas at Easter, very little expectations. If you don't want to go for Easter dinner somewhere, you're not going to get crapped on. You haven't got to do the rounds. So that's why I enjoy it. My name's Apps. I'm the host of this show. My co-host this time around is our reigning FGL Grand Prix winner, Logan. Been knocking around in the gaming sphere for a long time. One of the OGs of the Dimp Digital podcast, going all the way back to 2014.
It's unbelievable, really. 10-year anniversary. Well, a little way away, but...
That's, if ever, the time to pull the plug on the entire thing. That's the time to do it, isn't it? That's really the real time to pull the absolute plug on it and get rid of the whole Dimp Digital sphere, in my opinion. As we have a small interruption there. How do you feel about that? If on next year I went, right, that's it, kill it. 10 years, done. We've done our work.
Well,
Someone else can take over the mantle.
To be honest, no one would. I don't see it... I think that's the problem, is that the point that you would just be like, right, I'm done with this now. I've got what I wanted out of it. See you later. I feel like that would just be in the bins. I don't know if anyone else has got, I don't know, you think you've just relied on you just to keep this ship afloat for 10 years, and you just put feet up, and then all of a sudden you go, I'm done. And you go, well, how'd you do this then? What's required? Who's going to host it?
I suspect the Twitch channel would stay just for inertia purposes. And that's the easiest non-committal thing, but everything else would just pause and that'd be it. And I think everyone would be happy. I think they find this a pain in the arse, but we'll find out.
I don't think I find it a pain in the arse.
Well, I had to get out of bed this morning, so...
Well, that never happens. Well, it's unbelievable that that's even occurred. I was like, cool. To be honest, it's lucky because I didn't have an alarm set. So,
no. And it's bin day, as we've spoken about previously. So if you'd been much longer, you may well have missed the boat on that, and that would have been another week and a half of absolute blowville.
Too inconsistent. I mean, I'd like to chuck it out there, but they probably won't rock up till about 2 now.
No, of course they won't. No, that absolutely won't. Anyway, Idle Game Chat, we kind of talk about a bit of the industry news or some topics in the first part of the podcast, and at the end, we typically end with some... game impressions or reviews. Sometimes it's hardware as well. So we have had things on here for like the Steam Deck. I sat down with Biff just a few days ago to talk about a game and also his Quest, or is it called Meta VR? I don't know what they're bloody called now, but those
Meta Quest.
Meta Quest, it might be called, to talk about that. Unfortunately, his microphone was dreadful. So they would have to sort that for the next one. I'd forgotten that was the thing with him, that he just used his phone and not a headset. Again, we've spoken about this before, about the cables being phased out of phones and headsets with little mics on it. Unless you've got a wireless set of earbuds, you've kind of had it at that stage. So have to take some money out of central funds next time, because that really was a disgrace. But that's kind of what we do here. We normally waffle and talk rubbish and have a bit of a laugh. Don't take anything too seriously, although that's a difficult thing for people to manage these days. Let's do the Fantasy Gaming League update. This is a Fantasy Gaming League that we run. 2 competitions, Championship Showdown, the Grand Prix. We have a new game that's entered into the Grand Prix. It's in Hall's team. Mega Man Battle Network Collection.
What a name.
What a name that is. So it's sitting on I would say, respectable 79. But Hall's the one who's been making fun of people getting under 80s, basically. And he's now on an average of 77 after 3 games. So he's not hitting the minimum requirements he set himself. So no doubt Paper was enjoying that last night, goading him, and didn't get a response, as you'd expect. Just would have been red and a bit of blood would have been boiled, and then he would have gone to sleep. But that's Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. Oh, fucking mouthful. Let's do a quick rundown of some reviews. So we use OpenCritic for these scores, and then I grab the sorted by most popular, the top 3 that use the 10-point scoring system. So the Metro Boys are top. The ones that normally crap on things.
I like them.
Unless it's Nintendo. So you won't like them for much longer. 7 out of 10. So good in their books, but not exceptional. A welcome reminder of an unfairly forgotten franchise. But while Battle Network is an ingenious and fun action role player, it is possible to have too much of a good thing. Bizarre. Bizarre statement. Do you not find that bizarre?
I'm just processing it. Say that last sentence again.
Battle Network is an ingenious and fun action role player. It is possible to have too much of a good thing.
Right.
Is it?
Well,
I get what people are... For me, games can always be too long. Doesn't matter how fucking good they are.
Yeah.
Very few hit the mark of getting over 30 hours and going, that was worth the over 30 hours.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I think it's something like Red Dead Redemption 2, which I spent 100 odd hours in, and that could have been well shorter if I just hadn't done it. But I just was sucked into that world, and I was like, okay, that kind of worked for me. But Assassin's Creed is the go-to kind of example of Bloatville.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what they're saying there, but they've gone with that sort of statement.
Be fucking clear.
That's true.
Like,
you said you liked them, now you crapped on them.
Well, no, I do like their reviews. I find them more reliable, shall we say, than most outlets for some reason. But it just annoys me. You can't just say, well, too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what has made that comment? Like, have you got sick of it? Like, did you not want this back out? Like, what element of it are you crapping on? If it's too long, say it's too long. And then at least I know what to expect. I ain't going to play it, but...
No. I mean, it could all be explained in the full review. Unfortunately, OpenCritic only gives us a little synopsis.
He's defending it.
Well, you have to kind of just give him a way out in case it's been mentioned earlier. But 7 out of 10 from Metro. Again, nameless, just says Game Central. So Dave, who works there, not getting involved. Anyway, we go to the 6th Axis next. Miguel Moran. 8 out of 10, so more positive. The Mega Man Battle Network series was a huge part of my childhood. Oh, here we go. Got nostalgia getting factored in here. It's fine. To be fair, they said it. Some people keep it to themselves and then just say it was great still in 2023. But now I get to appreciate these card collecting tactical RPGs from a whole new perspective. While some of these entries are mostly fun nostalgia trips, most of them hold up just as well today, and the restored content from the patch cards alongside the robust online functionality make this collection the definitive way to experience the series. So very positive words there, and an 8 out of 10 is a good, bordering on a great score, but that seems fair that they've not overindulged and gone for the 9s and the 10s. He's mentioned it's a huge part of his childhood, but then tempered it with it's an 8 out of 10.
Seems fair.
Miguel. Lucas White from Shack News, 8 out of 10. Oh, God, they've started off with... I'm going to bin that first sentence because it's like the end of the next one. So, Open Critic, sort this out. In a lot of ways, the early Game Boy Advance years were all over the place. The rules hadn't been established yet and the potential was higher than ever. Anime had penetrated the mainstream... Had it? Had it in Game Boy? I don't know. Anime had penetrated the mainstream. Call of Duty didn't exist and nobody really hated Sonic the Hedgehog yet. They did. The Nintendo fans hated him. They absolutely did. It's not. That's a complete nonsense.
He's
there.
peddling falsehoods immediately.
Come on, Lucas. At Shack News, top critic star. Experiments and sequel vomiting could happen at the same time, and games were still small enough to support niche audiences of all sizes. Battle Network, especially in retrospect, feels like a poster child of that time. It's probably a little overwhelming to dive in now. And Lord knows how corny the Y2K tech jargon reads, but you can't find a better singular piece of media that sums it up so neatly. Gone off the wall there.
Fucking load of old word salad.
Do you remember Y2K?
What was a program?
Well, no, they basically said the world was going to end in the year 2000 and there was going to be that millennium bug.
Yeah.
I remember I downloaded a screensaver once when those were a thing. I mean, where's that technology gone? That was vital, wasn't it? No, well, I mean, they have them on the OLED. To be fair, does have things like that because they actually can suffer with burning. But nowadays, I think most LCDs don't. But anyway, I remember I downloaded a Millennium Bug screensaver, and obviously, you'd leave the computer idle. It would chuck up a screensaver. What this thing did, put a little green gremlin on your desktop, and then he would go and start smashing the desktop up.
I remember that. Yeah. They used to have like screen effects. They used to take a like screenshot, didn't it, basically, and then mess it all up.
Yeah.
God
knows what malware came with that. Cause
I mean, it must be horrendous.
It was all shareware took back then. It was like, Christ, what was I loading onto that PC? No wonder it...
Poor Norton Utilities getting an absolute battering.
God, that thing was so slow. Norton used to really slow things down. Anyway, that's the old Battle Network. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection 79 for Hall's team. A quick check-in on the scores and the doors. Biff is still in the lead with a 4.58 score and 6 games out. Salmon in second with a 3.87 and a 5 games out. Paper in third with 4 games out and a 3.18 score. Adcock in fourth with 3 games out, 2.48. Hall in fifth with 3 games out and a 2.21. So he's 20 points off of Adcock after 3 games, like for like. That's got to be concerning. Adkins still not off the mark. So there we go. That's the FGL.
I mean, it's unbelievable, really, that we're halfway nearly through April.
Yeah.
And feet up. Literally a third of the year gone.
Yep.
Nothing out. He's going to be potentially crapping pants.
Towards the back end.
Yeah, towards the back end. Because nothing really comes out in December. So you're really between April and November. Ain't long. 7 months to get 10 games out.
Oh. Got to start keeping his eyes out, and especially when those transfer windows pop up. I think the next one's in June, so some time there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to read this tweet out because it caused mayhem, as it sometimes does. It's from the account at Play Redfall. So it's the official Redfall Twitter account.
Here we go. Redfall
is launching on Xbox consoles with quality mode. With quality mode only. All right, so just said it there. Interesting.
Oh, why have they called this quality mode first? I know everyone else doesn't know what this is, but that's annoyed me. I didn't know they called it this. Because it absolutely shouldn't be quality.
Well,
that's unbelievable.
Xbox Series X, 4K 30 FPS. Xbox Series S, 1440p 30 FPS. 60 FPS performance mode will be added via game update at a later date. This is releasing on May the 2nd, 2023. I mean, look.
The audacity to call that quality mode.
That's what they say now, don't they?
Frames, quality mode.
Resolution is the quality, performance is the frames. That's how the jargon goes these days.
Fucking unbelievable, isn't it? Imagine, I've never played a game, right? I just want to say this. Well, I've found quality mode, whatever you want to call it, to be better than performance. Like, doesn't matter how good it looks. If if there ain't enough frames, it looks like shit. It does so, doesn't it?
That's when you start
you're
moving.
playing it.
Yeah,
That's what happened with that Harry Potter. Literally, if you don't move, it looks great. Couldn't look better. But as soon as you move, it's like fucking unbearable. It winds me up that it's just even an option. Like, it's literally unplayable. So why is it in there?
Well, you had it of the Xbox One and PS4. I saw you had. You didn't have a mode. You just had 30 FPS mode. Now they gave you the option, and you're getting annoyed about it.
£450 monitor here. £550 console. £1,000 worth of console here. £1,000 worth of gear, and it looks like a bag of shit. What are we doing? Like, honestly, if I was playing these games, it's just bizarre to me. Like, I would not even. I'd just go, don't even give them the option because it is that bad. Like, what are we doing? PC fucks can have it. Yep. On the PC version, you can have it because it's a completely different kettle of fish.
Yep.
But even God of War, like, it doesn't matter the resolution if the frames are that shit. I'm adamant.
No. Well, that's what they're going with. They're going to launch it without the performance mode. I mean, what the bizarre thing for me, that's entire thing, and obviously the big talking point is, one, it's got more eyes on it because it's an Xbox game, and the awful year of 2021 they had, 2022, sorry. 2021 wasn't great though. I mean, people will rewrite history and say that, but it was 2 games that came out. And this was supposed to be one of those games in 2022. It's been delayed along with Starfield. It's sort of the year of dreams, all this sort of shit being spouted. And the frame rate discussion is now of pertinent importance when it comes to every game release. You'll see every game almost writing down what the performance is going to be for each of the consoles and what resolution it's going to run at. And basically, when you don't have a 60 FPS mode, eyebrows get raised. And the bizarre thing about this is that it's going to be added later.
Yeah.
So they know they can do it at some point. They just can't get it done for May the 2nd. Yeah. And this thing's going on Game Pass. Okay, so the sales will be there, but I would imagine more people are going to play us on Game Pass than they are going to get sales, which is perfectly what you'd expect when you've got a subscription service that has such good value. Why is it being chucked out then? Because not only is it just being chucked out for whatever reason to recoup what, this game is not going to drive new subscribers. It's not like Starfield. It's not like a new Gears game. It's not like a new Halo. It doesn't have that cachet. It's a fucking niche, smaller studio, Arcane, which I love their games for, but they're not mainstream hits. This game, I wouldn't peg as a subscription driver. So it's not like Phil and Alan are sitting there going, "God, we need to get some fucking boosted money in May. So let's do it then," because the subscriptions probably won't rise from this. So that's the first point. The second point is it's coming after Star Wars Jedi Survivor and then just before Zelda. So it's in this real shit window of 2 highly touted mainstream breakthrough games. And then to top it off, they're saying, well, we haven't got 60 FPS ready for that day. Why not move it?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Agree. I don't quite understand it. I mean, on these consoles now, I'm adamant that 60 frames is the minimum. Like, the way that technology, TVs and everything has moved, you can't be getting away with 30 frame sloppers. You can't. The bar's been reset. Like, it's been set at a higher level. The minimum requirement is 60. Like, anything else will feel like slop. So it
will, yeah. And it's an FPS.
Yeah.
I know it's not a breakneck fucking liquid Call of Duty type style, but it's still going to be, seeing the clips, it's still relatively fast paced. Like, you'll want a snappy feeling shooter. It's
what defines a good shooting game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a good first person shooter's got to have, like, it's got to be 60. Like,
that's what set Call of Duty apart back in the day, in my view. It just felt so much quicker and snappier than everything else. And that was back then. I didn't really understand about frames, but that's what did it.
You could play that, and you'd go, Christ, how have I played this? And this is what I mean. The bar is constantly reset, and I just don't think. Yeah, it might look nice on that 4K. It might look nice like that, but when you actually play
that screenshot will look nice.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It will look nice on a screenshot, but you do anything with it, and it will just feel like you've got frames missing because you have. Like, And that's just the way that your brain resets on its expectations. You know, when you're playing Call of Duty, you know, if people are going to be moving from Call of Duty over to this, and you got that nearly running at over 100 frames or something, like 90 to 100 frames, it might be 120, but you got that running at that sort of level, and then all of a sudden you switch over to Redfall, and you've got a third of the frames that you've just had. Like, that's noticeable. And you're going to go, this doesn't feel nice. And you know, someone that's perhaps more casual around this than you and I, and don't necessarily fully appreciate that, will notice, and they won't know that it's locked at 30. They won't know necessarily a 60's coming. They'll just know that they've moved from Call of Duty to this, and it feels like shit. So what's going on? Yeah,
that's a good point. It's a strange decision to make. I just don't understand why you wouldn't just say, right, let's just get that 60 FPS mode working, then we'll chuck it out there. Like, and also we'll get ourselves out of this, you know, this window between Star Wars and Zelda, which is going to take up a lot of the conversation.
That's real basic for me, though. Like, do you not think, like, really getting the game? I don't know if I'd say it's an optimization thing, but like making the game run in what I would say is properly is a pretty fundamental ask. I mean, other games on that Nintendo get away with it, but I just think on a PlayStation and Xbox, you can't be getting away with releasing that slop. I mean, I would be, if I had to play God of War Ragnarok on that without the performance mode, I couldn't. Honestly, I had it on for about a minute, and I was like, this is unplayable. And I switch it back. Like, I don't know when these people are playtesting it. Who's signing that off?
They're all playing it on PC, and this feels fucking great.
They must be
on their 4090s.
I just find it bizarre, to be honest. It's such an odd decision. I don't know why. And we've said it a million times before. If it ain't ready, don't chuck it out.
Yeah, and it's just clearly an instance where
it ain't ready.
Maybe it's bug free and it's fully featured and whatnot, but I'd argue a core performance mode, especially when you know the spotlight's on you, like especially when you've just bumped up your prices this year. I know it's not as relevant because you know you've got GamePass lurking there, but Phil, whoever's at the top of this must have some idea that they're under the cosh slightly. Their reputation in terms of delivering games isn't up to snuff. So why not give every game every chance when you don't have the pressure of we need the sales for a windfall of cash? That's not really a strategy that we're banking on. I just fundamentally, I mean, for us, it basically means we ain't going to play it at launch, I would assume. I'm not going to speak for you, but for me, I had one eye on it because I was thinking, well, maybe I'll play it instead of Zelda because I'm not exactly hot on that at the moment. But now I'm like, well, I'll just wait for a start. Yeah. So there is a part of me that says, well, what's it matter? Because in 4 months' time, you'll be playing it and it'll be fine. But the optics won't go away for the first few months. It'll just seem like a stupid decision. I can't think of a scenario where this makes much sense because they must know that the optics on their side aren't great at the moment. So why give people more ammunition by saying we're going to launch this at 30 FPS? Now, who knows? In 3 years' time, this might have been the start of things going back to 30 FPS on console. You know, developers might start focusing on quality over performance and optimization, and we might look back in many years and say, well, yeah, I mean, it got a 60 FPS. It was lucky to get one in the end because everything else went back to 30.
It's fucking better not to.
Well, I mean, you've got to concern yourself because these developers are overindulged and up their own arse sometimes. I see it. I see what they're up to, and I think we'll stop doing that. Just get the optimization done. I hope that's not the case, but if the PS5 Pro rumours are to be announced, you might see 60 FPS being only for a souped-up version of a console, but that's all future guesswork. Regardless, in 2023, as we record this in April, the standard has been mostly set that 60 FPS is wanted by a core set of communities and enthusiasts, and they are advocates for your consoles and your games. They will... Their positivity will spread on social media, casuals will see it, and it will start to build a good cachet. When you do things like this, immediately you get crapped on, and it just feels like an own goal. Like an avoidable own goal. We've got fucking Slabhead chucking away 2-goal leads by putting stuff in his own net. And then it feels like Phil and Co have done the same with Redfall, even though they'll probably recover it in a few months' time. But you only get that one chance at your Open Critic score, which isn't the end of the world. But if you're in the Fantasy Gaming League, it is a bit of a blow. And the perception is always there. When people look back in history, they say, oh, cool, I got a 74. You know?
But both you and I were I'd probably say pleasantly surprised by what we saw.
I was starting to come around to it, yeah. Absolutely.
We were starting to think, oh, there's something here where we could have some fun here in
worth
this game.
Exploring.
It sort of got on the sniffometer. And it's like, why do something like this? And as you said, for what? Like, it seems like in their minds, they've taken the lesser of two evils. Like, they don't want to keep missing deadlines. So in their mind, they're not missing a deadline because the game's out, but they're just sort of putting it. This has become a day two, and it's like, well, you're better off if you're missing something that core. As I said, I fundamentally feel like I need a performance mode to play games on because I just think frames are more important. Yeah. In how the game feels than resolution.
Yeah, objectively, the game will feel better. I mean, it's again. I
just don't. Am I in the minority though?
No,
like, Is that just a personal preference of mine? Like, I don't understand how a game is better to play with a higher resolution than it is with more frames. Like, the eyes on the screen that I'm playing just don't recognise that. I recognise the buttery smoothness to be better visually than a higher resolution. I just find it bizarre that people. I mean, I'm starting now to think: do I need glasses? Like, is that the problem?
I actually have thought that. I thought I can't remember. I was around with my brother's years ago. This was, and he's got like reading glass or some fucking set of glasses. I don't know if he ever wear. I've never seen him wear them, so he's like one of those that's got them and don't wear them. And I remember just putting them on, thinking, "Cool. That's a bit clearer," and I took them off.
Is that what's happened here? Am I just fucking blind and I've never really realised? So I can't notice a difference on that resolution. But
I think what it is, it's just that video games are interactive. So anything that improves the feel of a game, you're going to notice more than the visuals over time. And that's just simply where the 60 FPS comes in, because you'll notice it as soon as you switch back and forth, you'll be like, oh my goodness, when I move forward, or it's almost jarring. So for me, it's always going to be the option. And I know this, the last generation wasn't treated to this, so it was a bit of a rarity. And, it was like, we're on a budget here doing these consoles, not going down master race. It's kind of a concession. But the standards have been set and moved. I hope this is they're going to get there. I mean, that's the thing. They are going to get there according to their statement. So it's not like it's a technical restriction. It's a time thing, which makes it even more baffling. But I don't know I've got much more to say other than just thinking, why are we doing this? What are we doing? And it's another bit of an own goal for Phil and Co. And it's a shame.
Completely with you.
Now, maybe we're not the Galaxy brains and we don't understand that actually, because it's on a subscription service, it doesn't matter. People will come back to it and play it. Etc. There may well be reasons that we are not privy to. Well,
they'll write off like we did Outriders. We ruined that game and then went, that's crap. Yeah,
that's the trouble. It will sting through, and then people maybe think of picking it up won't necessarily be fucking following play Redfall, waiting for the 60 FPS mode to drop. They just won't bother playing it. So it's a concern. It's another chuck away merchant, and. I mean, I'm just simply not going to play it until that drops, and then at that time, it's like, what else has come out at that time? Does it get on the menu? Is there time for it? Does it have runway, etc.? But disappointing. But we hope that eventually things end well for Redfall and get there. Number 2, Ubisoft has launched its Ubisoft Plus subscription plan, which lets you access over 100 games. So it's gone on Xbox. I think it's on. It may well be on PlayStation already, but Xbox is the good analog because we have GamePass lurking there with all its value. Guess how much this is a month?
It's probably going to be $9.99.
14 UK pounds and 99p a month for just Ubisoft games.
That's bizarre.
On the subscription platform, which is Xbox, if you want to get the best subscription in the game, you go to Xbox Game Pass because the value is unprecedented. What are they thinking? Who in their right mind is going to go, oh, I'll add another $14.99 to my, my monthly outgoings, or I'll get Ubisoft Plus over Game Pass?
I'm just trying to, in my own mind, I'm sure there's Ubisoft games on Xbox Game Pass.
There has been, yeah, and I wonder now if they won't be over time.
Yeah,
whether
that's what I was thinking.
When those things lap. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, this is.
I'm so on it. What was it? I was around my mum's the other day, and my little brother was talking about like other subscription services on Amazon. I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh yeah, you got
And
MGM and stuff inside
MGM,
it.
and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Where's all this shit come from?" It's about another 20 different streaming services. You got Paramount Plus.
That's it.
And I was concerned. I thought at that time, I was like, I wonder if like game companies and publishers will start doing these individually. And I was like, that's just fucking hell on earth.
No.
I hated having Sky, Netflix, and Amazon. I resent that. I resented BT Sport when that come along. So I was like, you're just overcomplicating the sport piece now.
Yeah.
And it's just filtering through into games now where everyone goes, well, if you want to play it, you've got to subscribe to our own. It's just such a bullshit model that I'm sick of. Honestly, it makes me... Like, I don't do BT out of spite. I just go, no. Like, you're just not having it. So... I just refuse to play. Ubisoft games generally aren't that good where I'd subscribe to pay for them. Like,
no. Might buy the odd one that pops out and is good. I mean, Ubisoft Plus has been around about 3 years, but it's the first time it's launched on Xbox.
Yeah. To be fair as well, EA with probably before before Game Pass, I'm even going to say.
Yeah.
They were there lurking, doing that. So they were the instigators. I think when that started, I think that was $3.99 a month or something. Like it was,
very cheap.
It was very cheap. It was like almost nothing.
Yep.
And that seemed like great value. And obviously that got incorporated into Game Pass as well. And I just wonder whether that's the way that it'd start going. So if you get Game Pass, you might get Ubisoft Plus and various other things, but the price will obviously start to go north, then all of a sudden you're paying £30 a month, and that's the concern, I think.
Yeah, EA Play was one of the first ones actually.
That's it.
And they vault. What they do at EA is it comes out, you buy it if you want it, but then after a year or so, it goes into their vault, and then you can just indefinitely access it. There's a few things they have taken off actually, which is a bit concerning, but they're all smaller games. But I remember I did that with FIFA one year. I just waited until. It'd gone on, and they're cheeky bastards. They waited until the season was over before it went on there. They do the same with the F1. They wait for the new F1 season to start before it goes on there. So they know, they're playing the game. But that was one of the first ones on there. And that was, and I think it still is, at a reasonable price if you want it. But the real kicker really for the Xbox ecosystem is that EA Access is included with Game Pass.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I mean.
Like it's bundled in, so it's an added value extra. Whereas this is more expensive than Game Pass and offering, I would say, less value. Ubisoft are not in a strong position at the moment. Not like they're firing out new games every 3 months, is it? Of high quality. I don't know what they're up to.
Yeah, it's a bizarre one, but I'm all for. I think I'm fine with subscription services if they're doing it at what I would deem great value. I mean, you look at Amazon Prime, and it's like you pay your money a month, and you get music, you get books, you get next day delivery. Like the whole bundle is great value. Xbox Game Pass, great value. But when it starts eking on the side of piss taking, I'm like, right. When I can see that you're just exploiting me, I just out of principle will go, nah. Stick it up your ass.
We'll never find out. I would be fascinated to get the metrics on how many people on Xbox subscribe to Ubisoft Plus. Because it's just up against the king, and it's just going to look so bad and of such poor value in comparison to that.
Yeah,
like a lot of these games that they've released as well have been on sale for cheap because they're not new.
Less than that,
exactly. So you could bloody own them for less than the $14.99 they're asking for a month.
Yeah,
maybe that bloody pirate game will come out and change things. What's that called? Can't bloody remember now.
Skull and Bones.
Skull
is
and
it?
Bones, yeah. No, that'll change it.
Oh my god!
They'll say you get the Battle Pass included with a Ubisoft Plus subscription, so that's why you want the Skull and Bones. Anyway, bizarre choices, but they said they were going to launch it on there. I suppose once they said it, they had to, and I'm just surprised they didn't just try and do something with the price to make it seem just 1% appealing. But
even if they just hooked you in, they said 3 months at half 50% off or something. You go,
see
whether it's worth it. But no, they've just gone. If you want it, here it is.
Here it is.
And I don't.
No, I don't either. Let's round out our subscription bashing because Sony are in the firing line here with PlayStation Plus. They are going to axe. So this is not uncommon. Games go on and go off of subscription services. We know that's how it works. But they're actually going to axe Marvel's Spider-Man, which is one of their own games. It's a Sony published game. Now, I don't know whether Marvel have any stroke or say in what goes on with this for licensing or whatnot. I would suspect not, but you never know. That's the only thing I can think of. But it's coming out of the PS Plus game catalogue in May, which means that if you've got PlayStation Plus Extra, which is like the big, with the hundreds of games on it, it will be dropped from that. Now, why are they doing this? It's their own. They publish the game themselves. They've got their name splattered on it. They can essentially, for a layman's term, do what they want for it. And this concerns me somewhat that other first-party titles will come off PS Plus, making that service poor. Because one of the great things that Game Pass does is that whatever Phil owns goes on there, and once it's on there, it stays on there. And you haven't got to worry about the time limits of it disappearing. If fucking Jim's going to start putting the rug out underneath me suddenly with his own games, it's like, well, what's the point in this? What are we doing at this stage? Now, this could just be an anomaly. It could be something to do with it just being Spider-Man. But I think this is worth keeping an eye on to see if any others drop off. What's your thoughts on this? It seems like a small concession to make to just keep your, many would say, inferior subscription service relevant. And when you start seeing first-party games coming off, again, you want the ammunition to shoot at PlayStation. You've given a few bullets there to fire.
Yeah, I mean, you, as I say, you kind of because Xbox have set the standard. That's what you kind of expect from Sony, I think, and what you said there. I think it's obviously concerning that time limit piece is not applicable, and they will, for their own first party games, just chop and change it up as they want. It seems just a bit odd to me though that they would do this with Spider-Man. I don't really understand why they'd pull it off. Like, surely it can't be raking in sales or anything at this point. So,
it's been on sale for I've seen it on sale for cheap. Because it's an old game. It's 2018. It's the PS4 version of the game. I don't even know if the remastered version's on there, but
just seems a bit odd. Like what? I mean, maybe they've just gone. Well, I don't know whether they look at it and go, "No one's playing it, so we'll just yank it." But why? Because if someone does want to play it, ain't there? What? No harm, no foul. In my simplistic eyes, just leave as much on there as you can. Is there like a finite amount that you're going to offer? Seems a bit odd, doesn't it?
I wouldn't be surprised if Sony's database has only got enough room for so many entries and they've we'll run out of room if we don't take this off. Something stupid like that. But this is not a good precedent. I don't know whether this is just because Marvel are involved or what, but if there's other stuff that starts coming off, then that's concerning. Any chance of me ever re-upping this subscription will be vanished immediately, because what is the point at that stage? So, Jim, you shit the bed again, and we'll be keeping an eye on you. If I see any more of this nonsense, I'm going to fucking let off at him. I've had enough. Anyway.
Yeah, he needs a kick in.
He needs a slap on the arse every now and again, doesn't he?
He does, just to remind him that there's a consumer at the end of his decisions, because he seems to forget periodically.
Anyway, we've had a trailer of Tears of the Kingdom, which looked good. I watched the state of play for Final Fantasy 16. Looking forward to that. I've got nothing really to say on those other than they're out there. People should go and watch them. Unless you're on media blackout, of course, then don't bother. But I think we can close this segment of the podcast down, Logan, and to try and get some synergy with Tears of the Kingdom, and plus it's releasing in short time, in a few weeks. Many moons ago, I recorded an impression session with Adkins, which had Breath of the Wild on there, my replay of Breath of the Wild. So I think we've got. I think it's free games in there. I think it's Breath of the Wild, Last of Us, and Pokemon Arceus. So all old tutters, but that's what we're going to close out the podcast with. People can find out what my opinion of Breath of the Wild was, my second playthrough, a bit more of a thorough playthrough in time for Tears of the Kingdom. That may tip you off as to whether I'm excited or not for Tears of the Kingdom. But that'll do for this segment of the podcast. Patreon.com/Dimp Digital is the place to go if you want to support us and join the community. #and in pocket as always. But we will see you on the other side. Here we are then, back with some game impressions to close out this edition of Idle Game Chat, joined by Lashit. Actually, when this one airs, you probably won't be Lashit anymore. So that suspension will have, or that punishment would have expired. So, for the sake of me saying it just then, I'll keep Lashit there. Maybe this will be the last unofficial one, but no, we're here to talk about 3 games.
Cool.
People are like, hang on, you normally only spotlight one game. It's like, well, that's true, but if the game's already been spoken about recently by another member or whoever, then it doesn't make sense to do another half hour 3 weeks later and go, and here it is again. And also, my one is Breath of the Wild, so Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is obviously an older game, and I just thought it doesn't need another full spotlight. So we're hoping we can squeeze 3 into one, which will give you more value. But these are games that we would have spoken about before. I want to get just Breath of the Wild out of the way with. Yeah. So went back and replayed this bad boy because always felt there was unfinished business. Because for whatever reason, I don't know if another game came out or
Horizon.
What, but back in
Horizon and that at the same
when
time.
Horizon came first, and that got rushed through, and had to go back and be platinumed at a later date, which I did. And then this Breath of the Wild, I think I just got a bit bored of it after one point.
Mario Odyssey.
That's much later in the year, though. It was like October, November. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I think I just got a little bit bored of it. And
Barren Wasteland.
Well, it ain't changed, I'm afraid, in 5 years. They haven't patched any content in. But it just... I never felt like I played it to its full potential. I left a lot on the table, tons of stuff that I hadn't done. I barely done any of the side quests, did the Divine Beasts, went after Ganon, did that, didn't get all the memories, all that sort of stuff. And I was like, it's always been gnawing away at me. And I've tried 2-3 times since to go back and do it. Finally got myself through it and spent far longer in the game, like in depth, treated it like a proper adventure game, went through side quests, explored, did all that stuff. And did the DLC. So the Ballad of Champions is the main sort of story DLC that you get. Yeah. And there's also like the Master Sword trials and other bits and pieces. I didn't complete that because it was annoying. It was basically you have to do. You start with nothing. You start with nothing. You have to do about 8 levels you have to do about 12 levels in a row to get to a checkpoint.
Run through.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So if you die on level 11, you go out to 1. I did that once, and I was like, sorry, I ain't doing that because I think a lot of my criticisms remain. I really don't think the combat's that good in this game.
No,
I really think it's stiff as
old boots.
Stiff as old boots, and really the bread and butter of the melee and the bow and arrow and the shield combat, the parrying, the blocking, the strafing, the dodging, really is just not very good at all. I mean, it works, but it ain't exciting. And really, I think it hinges so heavily on those runes and those relics, those powers that you get, whether it's freezing time or chucking bombs. That does obviously add a lot more elements for you to do. But that is only appropriate or useful to use in certain scenarios. And just the general gist of the combat's I don't think that good at all. I think it's very bland and very basic. I really do hope Tears of the Kingdom is a step up massively there. I think it really could do with that, but we will see. Whilst I'm kicking the shit out of it, what's this logic here? So you go to climb up a wall, or climb up a mountain. It starts raining, you slip down. All right, you want to play role play, you want to play adventure. Okay, I can't go up when it's raining. What do I do? You just have to stand there and wait. Fine. I've done boring things in Red Dead Redemption 2, drinking that coffee in the morning like Logan, doing the chores. That's worse busy work. I understand that. And I was rolling around a fucking snowy area, slick ice everywhere. Guess what? Can climb up that, no problem. Where's the fucking logic, Adkins? What's he got? Non-slip gloves all of a sudden. So annoying that is. But
there's an outfit you can get, isn't there? That
well, I found a set that makes you climb quicker.
Quicker, does it? Yeah.
I never found one that stops that.
Don't.
Maybe there is. I mean, this is the thing about the game. I don't think it's without using a guide, you will 100% miss stuff. And I got I did a ton of stuff in this. Found so much more secrets and other great things. And really,
I don't think you'll find all the fucking shrines without a guide.
Oh no. I did like tons more than I did before, but not all of them because I couldn't find some of them. Like the thing was flashing off, and I was like, I just don't know where that is. It's just. I'm like gliding around this mountain thinking I don't even know how to get to this. I found one and there was these doors locked and I was like, how the hell do you get in there? And so at some point I had to sort of walk away from certain elements, but
yeah,
I will say that I understand a bit more of the magic of the game in that treating it more as an adventure and exploring rather than just treating it as a game to get done, which was something that's plagued me for years. I just want to get through the game, so you kind of just mainline it to a certain extent. Just allow it to breathe and just finding things naturally. You can kind of see where the magic is there, and I think they really have done a great job. Finding locations just using landmarks on pictures or high-level maps. You can find certain spots just by using the references and the landmarks and the landscape itself. It really is impressive because not a lot of games, open world games, you can do that at all. Like you just will not be able to do that because they don't have unique architecture, and it's really clever. Like how easy it is to find things just by looking at a small snapshot of it. I was really impressed with that, and diving further into that is really, really great. And you find some really fun ad hoc puzzles, and there's cryptic clues lurking around. I spent a lot more time taking the time to kind of do those as well. Found within like the first 3 hours, I found 3 shrines that I never could unlock because I never figured out what the riddle was. And already just by changing the way I'd approached it, I was able to do that. They contextualize fast travel, which means skipping around is nice and easy. You get a little slate, you just go disappear up into the air and disappear back. That's fine. There's magic in this world. I will take that. Obviously, it's not great in terms of presentation and performance. It's not aged any better in 5 years, believe it or not. It would be nearly 6, actually.
No.
We're close to 6 and it's 5.
Although I have seen comparisons recently to said new games such as Pokemon, these are probably the 2 worst, Pokemon Arceus and Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, and it doesn't fit night and day better than them. But like I say, that's a bad comparison.
Yeah, mate, to be fair, it's of acceptable standard.
Yeah,
and it's a handheld device, so
that's an interesting question. On this playthrough, how much was it console? How much handheld?
98% console docked.
Ooh, nice.
I did a little bit. I did a little bit undocked. I was like, the screen's too small. I can't see what's going on.
And with that OLED.
Well, yeah, that'd be like the worst investment for me. But yeah, I definitely found more pleasure in it this time round, but also got more annoyed, I guess, at its shortcomings. Like this is hard to say whether this is definitely true or not because misremembering. But this may well be the worst mounted traversal on a horse ever. It's so slow. It's so sluggish. The only thing that in my head gives it a run for its money is The Witcher 3, which was just an abomination of traversal. Roach. This, I think, rivals it. It may well be worse.
Yeah.
I didn't even use I got so annoyed. I thought, what's the point in trying to move this tank around?
Get that torrent. He'll fucking show you how it's done.
Oh mate, you know what? There's a challenge there's loads of challenges in the game that you can come across. There's a horse racing one. Fuck me. That I got through it. There's a horse one where you have to archer things on the horseback. Fuck me. Didn't do that one. Lost my patience of it. But yeah, look, Breath of the Wild, undoubtedly a really, really good game, I would say. I do think it's overhyped when people say it's the second coming. If you're not saying it's the second coming, then maybe it's not overhyped. But for me, it does fall a little bit short in some key areas, and I'm hoping that they can improve this for Tears of the Kingdom. It's going to go in the gallery, but it is going to get a blasphemy and get a silver, which will upset people.
Apple carts will be set there.
Oh, of course. I gave it a gold when I played it the first time round.
I don't know if Salmon's completed it, but he'll be the one to have a go first.
He won't accept that. So yeah, I recognise, I can see why people loved it. I do think it's just got a long way to go in terms of the improvements that can be made. So I hope that they get that for Tears of the Kingdom, but only time will tell. I'm really scared about the combat being just as bland.
Exactly. Degradation. How did that go?
Oh, I didn't even talk about degradation. I don't need to. I think we all know that that's just an awful idea together, and it's just there's so much stuff in this game to find, which is exciting. But there's also so much rubbish to find. But you kind of need the rubbish because you're constantly just burning through weapons. And yes, you can use the runes and use the powers, and you can probably get really creative and do some really cool things, but that's still a flap and it can't be relied upon. So yeah, what are we charging the Master Sword for? The weapon degradation is a completely I'm never going to get my hand around it.
What is that? I've not touched any of the DLC. I've got it on my wish list, but I'm wondering whether is it worthy of a purchase, yay or nay, just for story content.
No, not just for story content. Like, there's about combined probably 5 minutes of cutscenes in it. It's good because it's actually, they're quite advanced. There's a lot of puzzles and
them champions, isn't it?
Yeah, each of the champions have like a trial for you or a couple of trials, and they are good. They're challenging. They get your noggin working, and even just to find them, because again, it's just it's just like a top-down view of the map, like a scan of it.
Right, okay.
And it's kind of like, oh, where are we going here? So that's actually, they are some strong parts of the game, but in terms of the story they give you, I mean, it's the same sort of. There's not a lot there, in all honesty. So. That even with that, I should say this is Breath of the Wild with those expansion packs gives it still the silver it probably didn't want. But can't be helped. Sometimes things go well, sometimes they don't. Still looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom. I just really hope it's got a bit more oomph about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's move on outside of the Nintendo space to something that definitely won't have aged because it was remade to look the bollocks, apparently. The Last of Us Part 1, one of your favourite games of all time. Remade from the ground up for a new generation.
Ground up jobby.
You managed to get through it. What did you think overall?
Absolutely platinum, the bastard.
Yes.
It's a difficult one, this one, because this is its second remake. It's his first
second technical uplift, isn't it?
Technical uplift, yeah. If this stands on its own, if this was the only thing, if this was the original piece that we got, phenomenal. The game is incredible. It's the best it's ever looked. I would say it's the best it's ever played. It's the same as it was played. It really was like the way it looks, the cinematic feel. There's very very little change in any story sense. There's nothing in
No.
story, but there's
They killed Ellie off in the first 4 hours.
I
Oh,
wish they would have
Christ.
done something. That's what I was hoping for. I didn't want any sort of change in the story as such, but maybe an expansion of some sorts. Maybe an expansion of little sections in the game. You know, when you're with other characters, maybe a little bit more exploration or something like that. But no, what you're basically getting is the exact same game that is the PS3 and PS4 versions, just with a cosmetic change. The only upgrade that they brought forward, or difference that they done, was the upgrading of the guns, and that was brilliantly implemented. To be fair, you have these what do they were like workbenches that you could physically upgrade your weapons.
Yeah.
It added to the realism of it.
Yeah.
So much so that you're like, oh, mate, fucking hell, he's like wanking off this fucking shotgun, cleaning it up. You're like, oh, bloody hell. To the point where you're like, fucking hurry the fuck up, Joe. We got zombies here, mate. Come on.
And knocking on the doors.
Knocking on the doors. And yeah, the fucking the seamless transition now between gameplay, because they've got that fidelity and that really did add to it. Just that it blurs the line between cutscene and gameplay. You're like, oh, blimey.
Yeah, because I'd forgotten. I didn't really think of it, but
no,
when a cutscene ends, you just go to a black screen.
You just go to a black screen. You're like, fuck,
drop you back in.
Yeah, I forgot that.
No longer is that an issue.
No, that's not an issue. No,
Seamless.
It's incredible what they've done using the same. They used the same sound file. So they kept everything, all the audio exactly the same, but they managed to make the expressions on the face mean more. So it brought more weight to the story. So like even just little sighs from the character, you could see it in their face. There's like one in particular with Tess, where she's just like, Christ.
Yeah.
You can really see, you can see that in her face. I tell you what it does as well is do you remember when they did it with in Spider-Man? They changed
they changed Peter Parker's
Peter
character
Parker.
model, yeah.
That's it. And then they added that, they made a remaster of fucking the first one for PS5, and they stuck him. This one, Joel's face matches up more. He looks like a complete different person in one.
Yeah.
Like it still has this, the beard and the face and the thing, but you can tell it's the same character, just a bit more grey. Other characters as well. They sort of, it just, everything looks better. Everything looks crisp and clean.
Yeah.
But for me, the biggest thing is this worthy of a purchase for people that have played the game? And when you're paying, well, I didn't, but when you're paying 70 UK pounds for that, for that sort of level, and you're literally just getting nicer graphics, lovely, gorgeous. Runs at silky 60, no hiccups, no technical difficulties, beautiful. But all you're getting extra is that fucking gun attachments on a workbench. Well, that's it.
That's all you're getting.
You got to question: is it worthy of the purchase? So it's a difficult one to score because it is. If you look at it as a package on its own, and it's. People will say it's for people that have never played it. That's bollocks. I'm sure it is, but
you ain't played it by now.
Exactly. This is game.
They're going to watch the show and then they're going to want to play this.
Exactly. Fuck me if you're playing that. So where is it? 7, 8, 9 years old? Is it? Last of Us? More longer than that. 13, wasn't it? 2013.
Yeah, it'll be coming up for 10 years old soon.
Yes. Yeah, 10 years old.
Given how far behind we are at publishing these, it might be 10 by the time this comes out. But
that is very true. So yeah. So we're looking at potentially a 10-year-old game.
The Creaker.
Yeah, for them to be going, no, this is for new people. People would have heard of this game. If you're a gamer, you would have heard of Last of Us. And there'll be very few. It will only be the people that are watching the TV series.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a small few. It's going to be the people like us that have played the original, played the remaster, and played this.
Want another pop at it?
Another pop at it. It's great to go through. I went through it again. First time, there's only the second time I'd completed Left Behind as well.
Yeah.
I like what they've made it feel like it's one big package, like that's part of the story. It's all included.
Yep.
It comes with, they have that same sort of Naughty Dog unlocking extra thing where you've got character models, the bonus. They've got the TV, that little documentary that they made. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, Grounded.
Grounded, that's it. There was one for God of War, wasn't there, as well?
Raising Kratos.
Raising Kratos. Annoying they didn't do one of them for Ragnarok. But
Eric Williams
yeah,
went, get out of here. I don't want you filming us.
Ain't having that.
Under the cosh here.
That's it. But then they also added a commentary as well for the game, so you can unlock that and play, which was thinking about. I was like, right, I ain't playing this for a fifth time.
So as you play through, it will activate.
It will activate, and you'll have Troy and Ellie.
Troy getting involved.
Troy and Ellie? Troy, Ashley, and Neil sort of talking over it and explaining certain things, which is quite fun.
They're probably all stories that Troy's told on like millions of podcasts.
Like,
he loves a recycled story, that bloke.
Yeah, he does. He does. But no, phenomenal game. Very, very good. You know, it's one of the best, if not the best stories ever told in gaming. Narrative masterpiece. I just think you can be charging 70 UK pounds for that.
For that.
You know, it's gorgeous, but that's not enough. I needed a Resident Evil 2 remake, Elk. I wanted more exploration, exploring of new characters, new sections of the game, some sort of change. Even if they would have implemented the combat of 2 or the traversal of 2, even if you'd been able to go prone, that may have even, I wouldn't say it's worth the 70 quid, but...
Oh, you can lay down this level that hasn't got anywhere to lay down, just laying on the floor.
Exactly. I just wish they would have done this. So, yeah. So...
He's struggling.
I'm struggling there.
Neil's listening.
Neil is listening. Neil will be thinking, if it was on its own, no doubt, it would be a platinum. Mm-hmm. No doubt in my mind. It's my favourite game ever, pretty much.
And this is the best version of it ever.
And this is the best version of it.
Therefore...
it's a bronze. But no, if you're playing it as a fan, paying 70 quid for this, it's a silver. There's not enough in this.
Followed Biff.
For us, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm going to go with Biff on that. I just think, there's
poor old
so
Adcock
much
on the island of his own, giving it the platinum, saying,
that's it. No, I just think we've had it already. If the PS4 remaster didn't exist, I may have been a bit more upbeat about it. But I still don't know why I got it on day dot, to be fair. I think it's just because I am a fan of that thing, and I was expecting maybe something, just little things to notice, just like, oh, there's a new note or something there. No, it's still the same game, but it's difficult because it's so flawless and fucking perfect and the greatest story of gaming ever told, in my opinion. But yeah, looking at that package, could have been a little bit more. They could, just another year of it, just go, right, take everything out of Last of Us 2, put it in there, or let's explore different things. And that 70, even if they would have done, like, what's the fucking Seafood or something, 35 quid. If it was that, then I feel like that might have justified it a bit more. Might have gone, to be fair, it's worth it. But
35 rubs. Yeah.
Jim said, no, stick it with the big boys. You got Ragnarok, you got fucking brand new fucking games coming out at 70, and then you got that, a remaster. He's gone, nah, put it up there with
remake,
the 70 boys.
He called it a technical remake.
I've just picked up Callisto Protocol, day dot, for 45 quid.
Yep.
I mean, and I'm paying 70 for a game that's almost 10 years old with a little bit of a spruce up.
Elden Ring was 50 quid as well.
Elden Ring, yeah. Brand new, ground up. Ran like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's what you get for your £50, unfortunately.
But no, it's a bit of a dual one, but for this package from me, it would be a silver.
That's
For
how it'll be up in the
Unison-
gallery when people look round. People in 10 years they'll go, "Cool, that Adkins was a harsh cunt, wasn't he?" He says it's my favourite game ever, and it's on a silver.
Silver. I love a 5 out of 10
Yeah,
game.
that's exactly what we love.
Crikey.
And to close the showstopper, Nintendo heavy here, Pokemon Legends Arceus. So people expecting Scarlet and Violet, sorely disappointed. Here we go, Akins. This took you a little while. This was played over many, many months. Was purchased on launch,
and
and
then
then
wasn't it?
yeah, about 10 months, I think, by the time we got
was,
around to
wasn't
it. But yeah, talk to me about Pokemon Legends Arceus. Then you'd played through. What did you play through? Sword and Shield previously.
Played through Sword and Shield.
Got that
Yeah, done
done.
it again, and it was a similar sort of thing. Started it, a couple of weeks on it, maybe even the odd month. Got chucked into the backlog for unforeseen circumstances. Other games would have come out. And then there was a long void, a good solid few months. And then it took a holiday, which seems to be the way with these Nintendo Switch games. They get a holiday, and I think, well, I could take that off and I'll get back into it. And yeah, I think it was, I went away with the family, took the Switch. I was like, right, well, once I'm done dealing with them bastards, I'll get me Pokemon on. And then sort of, I think I was about 15 hours in, I think. So I just needed a little bit to sort of finish it off, and then go back and do a bit of side to
A bit of
in-game.
side
A bit of side to. There's a lot, and I ain't finished it yet. I don't know if I ever will, but who knows?
No.
But yeah, I did enjoy my time with it. To be fair, overall, it almost was what the dream that we spoke about, the open worldness. Although it wasn't. It was very more akin to Monsters. No,
Monsters Inc. Monster Hunter.
Monsters Inc. Yes, I was just thinking Monsters Inc. Monster Hunter. It reminded me a lot of that in the way it's set up. The way it's set up, it have your sub areas that are fairly open, but not completely fully open world. You'd say. The way you go back to your village, Jubilife, is it?
That's it.
Jubilife village. Get your missions. Go back. Get your fucking stars up. Get your little. It's trouble now. Fucking played 3 games since then, so I'm losing it now. You had your little fucking court missions, didn't you? You had to get your star up to get your survey points. That's it. Your survey core.
Get your stars.
Get the stars up. Yeah, it was brilliant. I thought the way you interacted with the Pokemon was fantastic. The interaction, you just walk around the sort of zones, and they'll be out in the fucking overworld. You chuck your balls at them, sneak behind them, or if they were being bastards, you could actually wear them down the old way and then get them. The islands, the different islands, the subsections all sort of did differ. They had different zones. You had the beach, the coast. You had the fucking snow.
Yep.
The big zones. And yeah, it was quite a nice change from the generic sort of go from town this route to there, straight to there, get your gym cards, and then battle the last 8. And Bob's your uncle. They've done that for fucking 20 odd years now. So it was a nice change of pace. Having said that, possibly one of the worst looking games on the Switch. I mean,
Well, until Scarlet and Violet come along.
Until Scarlet and Violet come along, and then you really did go, cool, maybe it weren't as bad as it was.
No.
But no, this did look very butters indeed. Flat textures, piss poor. Was the performance bad? I can't remember if it was.
It weren't great. It was fine. It never crashed or anything, but it ran 30 mostly.
So, yeah, mostly. But it really was the look of it. The Pokemon, they looked sort of passable, but for the models. But it was more sort of the barren wastelands, and it made, even though you just slated the graphical powerhouse of Breath of the Wild, it made that look half decent.
To be fair, maybe maybe Breath of the Wild and Xenoblade Chronicles are outliers, they are doing witchcraft, because because Game Freak, ain't it, when it comes to this sort of stuff, they really don't have the minerals for this level scale, in my opinion, it would seem, to deliver.
Yeah.
Not 2 in a year anyway. What they were playing at. I mean, what's that all about?
No, that's right. So that really did bring it down. But yeah, it sort of was a nice change of pace from what I said. My review from Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Mm.
It did feel that you had that open world area in the middle. I forget what it's called now. The Wildlands, was it? Something like that?
Yeah.
Wildlands, something like that. And I felt like that was the evolution of what the next Pokemon should be, and it definitely was that. Sounds like the newest one is going to be even more of an evolution of that, although the game fucking runs and looks like bollocks. But it sounds like it's the true ultimate experience of full open world, go where you want and do it. Just
Can't
put
chuck
up
the
with
balls at their head though in real time, can you?
No, that is
So,
the trouble. No,
can't
it's
interact with them. That's what I loved
only-
about Arceus. Really, was the seamless sort of interaction between you and those Pokemon. But
No, I'm still not 100% sure how that works. You can chuck out your own Pokemon. I think
and you just go into
they
a battle.
they go into a battle and you can collect them. But no, I don't
Yeah.
think you can do that for now. That really was brilliant just to be able to collect them.
Yes.
And there's fucking hundreds of them as well. Cause,
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I think there's about 260 odd or 40 odd, 240 odd, I think. I'm only up to about 170, I think.
Yeah.
So there's a long way to go. But yeah, nice welcome change of pace for the Pokemon. What I liked as well is one game, not two, so you didn't feel like you were missing out on anything for the first time in a long time. And yeah, it was a ground I hope I'd like to see them do a sequel to this. It was a prequel to one of their generations. I think it was the Diamond and Pearl generation 3, I think it was.
I think chronologically, in chronological order, this is the earliest time they've ever set the game. It's sort of like it's almost like a prequel to the entire thing.
So,
because
yeah, it is, isn't
humans
it? Yeah.
and Pokemon are only just, it sounds like, but based on what they tell you, they've only been interacting for a relatively short period of time. That's what I found intriguing, having that kind of perspective that you're learning about. Because even like the Pokeballs are a different colour because they're made of different materials to start
That's
with.
it. Yeah, it looks like they're sort of made out of there's like a little steam that comes out, so it's all very man-made.
Yeah.
The Hisuian.
They're all frightened of them as well. They're like, all these Pokemon, they eat people or whatnot. And it's kind of like you're like in the field research team to try and study them and hopefully say, well, they don't always eat your kids. So some will, but they don't always eat them. Just don't stir up the wrong one.
But so I'd probably say it's probably the best Pokemon game I've played on that Switch out of the 3 I've played.
Yeah.
Pokemon Let's Go, Sword and Shield, and now this. Best I did enjoy my time with it. Having said that, though,
walking its way to a platinum.
Walking its way to a platinum. No, I'd probably put this. I mean, I'd lock it in there and I'd give it a silver. I think, because it's an enjoyable Pokemon game. But you have to boil this down and go, well, it is a Pokemon game. I ain't playing this for some rich, character-driven story, and and combat. At the end of the day, you got this turn-based combat, which I ain't a huge fan of. It's fine, but give me an hack and slash Pokemon game, mate. That's the real dream. But yeah, sort their graphics out, and we've got a masterpiece. I'm hoping Arceus 2 gets delivered, and that'll be the fucking daddy.
So that's good. So Pokemon Legends Arceus gets itself a silver. I'm just going to recap the other two. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild got itself a silver from me. And The Last of Us Part 1 gave a silver review. So a full house of silvers to close out this episode. I do want to end the episode with just an open-ended question about Pokemon. Given the reception and the technical issues that have been well documented on Scarlet and Violet, I had assumed that you were going to be a shoo-in to just buy Scarlet and Violet at some point and go through. Is the plan still to do that? Or will this be like, maybe I'll break away from the main series and, like you said, look towards Legends Arc or whatever that is 2 or something along those lines? Or are you still up for going back into it and just maybe having a bit of space?
I've got to say, I was very close to buying it on launch the day before.
Yeah.
And now I've even been given £5 gift vouchers.
Shop 2 giving it away. He was trying to give it away to me.
Giving it away. So I have got the option to buy it for £35. But currently at the minute, I've got a backlog as long as my fucking arm I'm trying to get through, so I can't really be adding it to that.
No.
But for some reason, it's still the thing I do now when I go to bed is I put podcasts on. Recently, they're always about Pokemon for some reason. I've learnt so much about the game without even playing it, and I have sort of got one eye on it. There is a potential. We are in December, so there's a potential it could be a Christmas gift.
Yeah,
I'm unsure, but at the minute I'm waiting. I'm glad that they've now just the Pokemon company and Nintendo have announced that they're aware that the feedback they've got for its technical problems and performance.
Yeah.
I am still interested, but let's think. I have in the last 2 years completed 3 Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Albert is fucking Pokemon heavy at the minute. We're playing Pokemon Go. He's going through Pokemon Let's Go.
Yeah.
He's playing Arceus as well.
Yeah.
So I'm still playing that with him at the time. I might be all Pokemoned out by the year's end.
Can't get a break from it.
Exactly. I've got fucking Pikachu right in me fucking ear. We're watching the TV series. Like
you could play co-op with Albert. Get him Violet. Get yourself Scarlet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You've got the OLED. He gets the OG. That's a clean
cool.
£100 investment. Get both of them. And say off you go. Oh, Daddy will play in this room. You play in the other.
There we go. Let's go.
He'll be nicking all the Pokemon. You'll be like, oh, you little toe rag. I need that for my scrapbook.
There's the option there. But I was going to ask you this with God of War after you playing God of War and then playing Ragnarok. Do you think another God of War game to see out the year? Well, not the year. You ain't going to get one now, but another one in a year or two's time. Are you going to go, look, Kratos, you've outstayed your welcome now? Bugger off.
Depends what it is. Like, I do think that any game, series or franchise would become old if you played it every year. And I think, fortunately, from God of War's perspective, we won't be subjected to that, because even Ragnarok, you know, which uses a lot of DNA, let's say, from 2018, still took 4 years. Now,
that's right.
2 of those years were fucking COVID-riddled garbage, so factor that in how you like. But nonetheless, the long way of saying is I don't think we'll be subjected to it that quickly.
No, I don't think so. Whereas Pokemon, on the other hand,
they're just churning them,
They churn them. It was every 2 years, but now we've had this year we've had Arceus, Brilliant Diamond and Brilliant Pearl, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And now we've had 3 in 1 year. So you're like, Christ. 3 Pokemon games, and I'm sure there's going to be another couple.
It's part of it that says I wouldn't mind if each of the releases were of high quality and weren't clearly suffering from being half-baked. Whereas you could argue on both sides of Arceus and certainly in Scarlet and Violet's area that they're not up to a good standard, like
Which
technically.
Is fucking mental. If you think that was it, someone put it on in the group that they're the most fucking profitable franchise in the world.
Yeah.
You know, bigger than Disney, bigger than fucking Marvel.
Yeah,
it's the top. Pokemon is the daddy, so they must have endless cash flow.
Yep.
How they ain't got the fucking artists, the fucking devs to get this up to scratch?
Some fucking engineers in there and sort it out, you prats.
It's unbelievable, but no. So it's one eye on that Scarlet and Violet, but I need to hold off and get these other games done.
Ship them
I've
out.
had my time with Pokemon now. Yeah. It's time for Albert to take the reins.
He takes over. But well, look, if you jump in back to another one, obviously we'll have you on to speak about that. But I think we can close this bumper. Well, it's not even overly long, but a 3-pronged approach there with 3 opinions and grading levels drop. The Dimp Digital Gaming Gallery filling up week by week, day by day. This is a silver sponsored show, but nothing more for us to say here other than thanks for your time and ta-da.
This was a Dimp Digital production.